welcome. We just wanted to set the scene for what is going to be the next hour. And there's lots of different content in there. I'll show you an agenda in a minute. But before we even go anywhere, I wanted to draw your attention to some things. And the first point is this session, I'm not calling it a webinar because it's not very formal. It's quite relaxed. It's more of a show or an event. And there are two ways you can interact with us. One is what the button some of you have already found at the top of the screen. You'll see that grey smiley face there. You can react to anything that's happening during the webinar. Beware that everybody on the call can see your reactions. That's why there's no real negative ones on there, except maybe the laughing one. If we make a very serious point, you hit the laughing emoji, then I'll know what you mean. But also you'll see you've got an agree and disagree button. That, when you hit that, is only seen by us. So we'll see if you're happy with what we say or if we're not so happy with what we say. But no one else can see that. And it's the same for that Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen, depending on what platform you're viewing this on. You've got that Q&A box. Only we can see that here as presenters. But we do want you to interact and add in any questions or observations as we go along. At the end, we'll gather all of those together and answer as many as we can. We had far too many yesterday to be able to answer them all. We had a fallback list of questions just in case no one asked anything, and we didn't need it at all. So as we go along, as something comes into your mind, type it into that Q&A box, and we'll gather them all towards the end and talk about them. But there's one key thing I want to mention is we're very enthusiastic about the presses that we have and the technology we have, and it's easy for us to get carried away with technical details and speeds and benefits. But what we really want to do is make this all about you. So we want to focus on you and what your needs are and what you want from Fujifilm and from the technology that we have. So we want to keep a focus on that. We want you to help us keep focused on that by adding things into that Q&A box. But three things we're going to talk about today is this triangle. Now, you may have seen a similar triangle about the print industry that says you can have your print cheap, you can have your print right, or you can have your print quickly. You can have any two of those, but you can't have all three. And in the high-speed inkjet market, it's very much been, you can have any two of these three on your high-speed inkjet press. It's very difficult to get all three in balance. But we believe with the presses we're introducing today that you'll get an idea of that. We'll be talking about two different presses. At the moment, it doesn't really matter about the difference between them. We'll explain it later. They're both high-speed roll-to-roll inkjet presses. And we'll be looking at the opportunities around that and looking at the technology around that as well. Okay, so we're going to go to the agenda for today, and I'm going to ask the guys to turn themselves back on with their cameras so we can have a chat. So we're going to meet the team now. We've got a panel discussion. We've got an example of real-life applications. We've got some demonstrations and walkthrough of the presses. We've got a customer testimonial there from Twinbell. And then towards the end, you get to see the robots that I've been promising on LinkedIn all this time. And we'll have a tour of the smart factory that Greg interviewed one of our colleagues there in the Future Edge Smart Factory. So, guys, I've been very remiss and I've not introduced everybody. So let's start there in Japan. And what I'd like you all to do, and there is time for this, it's just the schedule switched around a little bit. What I'd like to do is introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and tell us one fact about yourself that maybe everybody doesn't know. So we'll start with Koga-san.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Max-san. I'm Yoshihiro Koga, a worldwide marketing manager of Inkjet Continuous Feed, based here in Japan. So one fact I'd like to share is I'm a weekend golfer. So every Saturday or Sunday, I play golf, but not good player, so so-called staffer.
Yeah. It doesn't matter as long as you're enjoying yourself and you're getting some fresh air and a walk. As long as you're not driving. Yeah. If you drive around in a buggy, maybe okay, maybe not so much. Greg, what about you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Szymanko, and my role is the European and EMEA product manager for the JetPress 1160, so the main star of today's session. Well, I'm normally based in Warsaw, but I often visit my colleagues in Fleet and Spirit Center, Brussels, in Belgium. Well, maybe some fun fact, which actually was reminded to me when I was looking at Tokyo Bay here and watching some Japanese stand-up paddleboarders. Actually, I am also enjoying stand-up paddleboarding on the rivers or lakes in Poland or in Europe. So that's my hobby, which I enjoy a lot.
Or in Japan.
Or in Japan, maybe tomorrow in Japan. Yes,
you could hire something. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Danny, over to you.
I'm Danny Bakker. I'm a European demonstrator and application specialist. I'm based in Brussels, where I work usually in our PAC-B, Print Experience Center Brussels. I do demonstrations on the JetPress 750S and also on the JetPress 1160, as you will see today. Fun fact about me, I try to get lost in every city I visit because I think that's the best way to explore it. Because these days, everybody's walking with a map. They know where they go, and there's nothing unexpected. So I try to run or walk around the city without Google Maps and see what I will face there.
Oh boy, just be careful. We don't want to lose you. There are some no-go areas in some cities, but I'm sure in Japan it's lovely. Okay, Nomoto-san, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Terumasa Nomoto. I'm working in Future Edge, so Fujifilm EMEA Japan. So there are many visitors come to here, Future Edge. So I will guide visitor. So when you come to Japan, so I will guide you. So Future Edge.
Right, sounds like an invitation.
One fact.
Oh yeah. So my hobby is DIY. So, yeah, woodworking.
Yeah, you would be a very popular man in my house.
Woodworking on building my room. Room for my kids.
Kids.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good. It's always good to have someone handy around. David down under on his own, just like me.
Yeah, David Cascarino from Australia. I am responsible for the industrial print inkjet program in Australia across all the JetPress family. Fun fact, I have a mad passion for ancient cultures and civilizations like Egyptian cultures, Persian, Mayan, maybe just a little bit. Yeah, I've done a few archaeological tours and trips to Egypt in my time, just on my own. Yeah, it's been very exciting. They're very exciting times.
Wow, that's a different one than yesterday. That's very good.
There you go.
No, I've got a different one as well. Great. So I'm Mark Stephenson. I'm Business Development Manager for EMEA for some of our packaging and inkjet products. And it's my job to make sure as many people as possible hear about what we have, but also that we hear from them about what they want. So it's a promotional, let's say it's a promotional role. And another fact about me is my other job, some people call it a side hustle, but another job that you have that you do occasionally is to be the MC, be the compere for cheerleading competitions. So I got into this through my daughter, who was a very enthusiastic cheerleader. It's where you throw kids up in the air and catch them when they do somersaults. And sometimes we'll have 1,000 kids along in hundreds of teams. I think it's very popular in Japan too. I've certainly seen them at the World Championships. So I will announce the teams as they take the floor. And that's good fun, and it keeps me young, I like to think. I have some questions I think we need to address before we start. So I'd like you to help me. I'm going to start with you, Greg. You know, we're talking about high-speed inkjet most of the time today, but there's a lot more to Fujifilm than that. Can you give us a brief, snappy, insightful overview of just where that fits within our range?
Fujifilm business spans from healthcare, electronic, through imaging and business innovation. So yeah, we have very diverse portfolio of activities. But what's important to note is that over 40% of our global activity is somehow related to printing. And I think what's even more important, that it's almost a century of experience. So we entered that market early, and we've been active since then in various, say, segments of the commercial print market, right? Would it be litho or flexo or screen printing, right? And I'm not saying that just for purely historical overview advertising our brand, but just to point out that we've been developing our business together with this industry, right? So I think we are well positioned to understand all the challenges, but also opportunities which are emerging within the industry. So currently we are still a leader, for example, in terms of providing offset plates to this market, but at the same time, we are providing a wide range of digital portfolio to this industry. Would it be toner or inkjet? We've got 1,000 of users around the globe, and even in the digital, it's already 60 years of experience in this only digital market. So just that brings us, I would say, back to inkjet, even if your question was about other areas. But I wanted just to mention that even within inkjet, it is a very diverse area, right? So we can talk about sheet-fed inkjet or continuous feed. We can talk about solutions for commercial printing or flexo packaging or labels or folding cartons. But whatever area we pick, we do it with resolving those challenges which our customers see on the market, or addressing or tackling some opportunities which we see on this market. And I would say the last, we should not forget about workflow and finishing solutions, which we develop either in-house or with our solution partners on the market.
Okay, thanks, Greg. And yeah, we spoke about this yesterday at this House of Commons debate about all the different technologies come along, they come and go, they have a focus, but print stays there. It's been there for hundreds of years and it's still going strong. And, Fujifilm have been in print for 90 years. So it's one of the constants throughout what we've been doing all that time. Just a quick note, somebody in the Q&A has said, can I see your video or your screen? No, I can't. I can't see you. Don't worry about that. That would be an invasion of privacy. All I've got is your name. So that's all I know. And whatever you type in that box. So please don't worry. So Koga-san, it's a new name for some people in Europe, Middle East and Africa. They haven't seen Fujifilm involved in toner until maybe 3 years ago. And they haven't seen us involved in high-speed inkjet. We've done sheet-fed for a while, but in high-speed inkjet until perhaps just the last year. But our story in inkjet goes back a lot further, doesn't it?
Yeah. Actually, in Asia Pacific, we started this inkjet continuous feed business from 2011. The total number of installation is around 200 units. On top of it, we have a toner-based continuous feed business many products, including the OEM shipment. We sold over 2,000 units in world. So we have a good enough experience. Yeah.
Yes. And also, I think Greg and Danny have been impressed by the amount of support there is there in Japan. The number of people you have in not only in supporting technically with software and hardware, but also there in the smart factory looking at applications and all R&D. I think you're doing a tour of the R&D sometime later, Greg. Is that right?
Correct. Tomorrow we have a busy day. Yes.
Right.
Tomorrow. I'm very envious. I need to get my ticket to get over there. Okay. Thank you. So Danny, you've been demonstrating one of the 1160 models, the CFG, that we've had in Brussels now for almost a year since Drupa finished. What's the reaction to customers seeing the press?
So, yeah, like you said, I had the pleasure to do a lot of demonstrations already, and customers, they like the quality, the output, and especially the quality that we show on offset coated stocks and then mainly gloss and matte coated stocks. So later you will see more how we do this and why it's so special. But I dare to say that every single demonstration or sample print, the feedback on this was good.
Right. Excellent. Good. I'm going to go over to David. You know, we talk a lot about transactional print with high-speed inkjet, but you're seeing growth in other areas too in Australia.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, transactional and statements and invoices and the like is and has been the backbone of a lot of the continuous feed inkjet that Fujifilm and Fuji Xerox previous had its business with. In Australia, I've got 17 of those units in little Australia, and primarily doing mostly transactional. The ones that are doing the most volume and in the growth area are those not doing that sort of work. And I've got one particular customer that's got an 1160 CF that is doing a particular unique application that is printing everyday menus for a company that does home delivery of produce and groceries. I'm sure you have similar sort of arrangements and similar sort of outlets in Europe, across Europe. So that's a daily task. They receive files at about 10 o'clock in the morning. They've got about 24 hours to turn that around. And the reason why it works so well on the 1160 is because the varied amounts of menus that are required differ with every single menu. Some menus, they require 5,000, some others might only be 500. So the engine, the 1160 itself, drives that application, but it's delivered. The information is delivered by XMF Press Ready, which is key critical in matching and delivering to the engine the information and the data that it needs to produce it efficiently. And the quality that's there, that they're producing off the 1160, is allowing that to happen. They had previously they had a 1400, which is a Fuji Xerox 1400, a continuous feed inkjet, and to be honest, it didn't meet the quality expectation of the customer. So they upgraded to the 1160 because of the quality that it delivers. That's really the heart of it.
Yeah, we've got similar food delivery services here where a box arrives with a load of ingredients in, and if the customer is not inspired by the menu card, then the whole experience they unsubscribe pretty quickly. So that sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The quality needs to be realistic and vivid and attractive and all those criteria that make it a menu that the customers want to produce and want to cook. Really. Yeah.
So finally, Nomoto-san, you heard David there talk about how important it is to have software driving the engine to get the product right. And we're going to have a tour with Greg later of the Smart Factory. But we start with software. How important is that software that drives everything?
Yeah. So exactly, yes. So there are many devices working in Smart Factory of Future Edge. So Future Edge here. Yeah. And for example, there are many printing machines, so processing machine there. The robot arm and the AGV here. Then all device under control of software and work together.
Yeah, and then I think we'll see later just how integrated all of that is, how it all works so much together. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna turn off your cameras again because I just want to show full screen what I've got here in my hand. So let's just disconnect Abina. There we go. So what I want you to see is this. So the story of this catalog. So I'll hold it up to the camera there. I can't see the camera now. You can see the quality of the artworks in this catalog. This is the Birmingham Royal Society of Artists, the Royal Society of Artists. I'm aware that everything is backwards and I can't change my camera to switch it around the right way. So it looks like I'm opening it Japanese style. But we produced this at Drupa. And the idea was that we wanted to print at Drupa work that was useful to somebody rather than just samples that at the end of the day you end up with a big skip full of samples that nobody took. So we approached a few charities. The Birmingham Society of Artists was one of them. And we said, what have you got coming up that we can help with? And they said, well, our annual exhibition is on. The only problem might be it starts just within a week of Drupa. So you'd need to ship from Germany to England, which is always a challenge, and get them there on time, which we did. So that wasn't a problem. That was the hardest part, was the shipping. But we thought when we saw this catalogue, we're going to print this on our sheet-fed inkjet press, the JetPress 750S, because that's the highest quality you can get. And we want to print it with the highest quality that's possible. So we proofed it there in Belgium before we went, and it all looked great and got approved. And then when we got to the show, we saw the JetPress 1160 CFG for the very first time. And we got this various different jobs on the press. And we thought, this quality is so good, why don't we try the exhibition catalogue? We put it on there. I showed the comparison between our JetPress 750S and the 1160 CFG. And some people struggled. Let's put it that way. Some people struggled to tell the difference. Others pointed out 1 or 2 points that they were particularly concerned about. But in my mind, the quality was perfect for this job. So we ran the job on the 1160, obviously ran very quickly. It was on for probably less than an hour. We printed 300 copies of a 200-page catalogue, and we finished it there at the show and sent it along to the art gallery, and they were pleased with the result. There was, I didn't tell them. I changed it from one press to the other, and they were very happy with it. So it's just one example of an application of bringing something that would perhaps normally be printed in a sheet-fed environment, bringing it into a web-fed environment, and the concerns were few. So we were all happy with what we got. And it's a great example of the kind of work that we are targeting, particularly the CFG press, and you'll see the difference between the two in just a moment when Greg and Danny walk through the two presses and the differences between them. So I'm going to try and get over to Greg and Danny. Yesterday I lost my button, but today I have it. So let's switch over to Greg and Danny and hear what they experience or what they've got to tell us about these two presses.
All right, so we've got 10 minutes to go to the main elements of the JetPress 1160 family, starting with the CFG variant.
Yes, I'd like to show you first the CFG because this is something totally different than we have in the current market. And I think it's important to show you this because I think it makes sense for commercial printers, color book printers, publishers to see what this machine is capable to do.
Hey, when you mention commercial printers, I know that high ink coverage combined with high speeds, especially on coated media, can present challenges. Let's review together how we can address those challenges with the technology you are looking at.
Yes, yeah, let's go. So I want to show you the main elements of this machine, the elements that guarantees us quality, speed, and stability, which makes the difference in high-speed inkjet printing.
Okay, let's go for it.
Let's go. So, Greg, let me take you through all the main elements of the machine. Right. We're starting here at the standard unwinder. From the unwinder, we go to the paper stabilizer.
Yeah.
So this is where the magic happens, but I will tell you soon more about this unit. From there on, we go to the first print tower. We have 1200 dpi print heads here, CMYK, and we can print up to a speed of 160 meters a minute. From there on, we turn the paper over here in this lower level bridge. So the paper is ready to be printed for the second side, which will happen here on Tower B. Then we are at the end of the machine, and here currently we have a standard rewinder, but actually you can put any other finishing that's available on the market after the printing device.
Okay. Well, Danny, I'm going to take you all the way back to the paper stabilizer, because as you said, for me this is also where the magic happens for this machine.
Yes, let's have a look over there. So yes, Greg, let's open the covers together. So, Greg, here we have the inside of the paper stabilizer. So here on the top, we have heated rollers, and on the bottom we have cooled rollers. Quite simple, actually.
Okay, so let me ask you quite a fundamental question in the context of other technologies available on the market. How about consumables which are required to operate this module?
Then I have good news, there are no consumables. So there is no additional cost, and there is nothing that will affect your print speed. You can keep your print speed at all time.
So listening to all of that, I assume that managing variables such as paper storage or condition, it's much easier in this case.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, you can put the reel straight from the truck into the machine without any problem.
Okay, and perhaps a rhetoric question that was the end of this part, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I assume that the paper is much less stress in this press, in this process, versus other regular presses available on the market.
Yes, because we are removing already a lot of moisture before we start printing, we already avoid issues. So front-back registration, wrinkles, rewinding issues, they are all avoided just by the paper stabilizer.
Okay, so let's move on to the print tower and have a look at the quality.
Okay, let's go to the quality. So Greg, we are here at Print Tower A. Let's open the doors and have a look inside.
Yeah.
So what we see here is a big carriage. In this carriage we have 4 printheads located. We have 5 printheads for each color, 12 on the DPI printheads. When we print, the paper will go first to the sub-dryer. And the sub-dryer makes it possible for the main dryer to dry high coverage areas very well.
Okay, so I'm going to refer back for a while to the paper stabilizer again, because as we remove excess moisture, as we make paper more stable or less stressed, how does this help with quality here in the Print Tower A?
Because, as you said, we reduce the moisture, the dots, the inkjet drops, they will stay more on the surface of the paper. And because it stays more on the surface of the paper, we have clearer graphics, we have less graininess, which will improve the quality.
Okay, and well, we looked before in the Tower B together, so, well, I know that they are the same print heads, same drying, so I understand we get the same quality on the front and back side. Now, the question is it the same for all other presses available on the market?
No, it's not the same. So, at a regular press, you will have big differences between the first side and the second side as you print.
Okay. Can you explain a bit more why?
Because here we reduce already the moisture before we start printing. If you go to a regular press, what you see is that you're going to reduce moisture when you print the first side, because you use your print tower to reduce the moisture, which will give you eventually a different result on your front side and on your back side.
Oh, that's interesting. So let's move on and look at the output at the rewinder.
Let's go to the rewinder.
Okay, Danny, so looking at the output and on the sheet flatness and level of coverage typical for the commercial print work, I'm thinking, how does the paper surface cope with those type of high ink coverages?
Because we already reduced the paper with more or less 30% moisture, it's for us possible to dry the paper after printing with more power, because there's less moisture in it. So this is also avoiding problems like white spots in your print, ink transfer on your rollers. It will improve the rub resistance. So there are quite some positive things just with working with the paper stabilizer.
All right, so well, positive end of our journey here. So let's move now to the JetPress 1160 CF and see how many differences we can spot.
Yes, let's go.
Well, this looks much different and larger.
Yeah, don't be alarmed, Greg. This is not a standard JetPress 1160 CF model. This one has way more options.
So can we list the standard modules which are part of the CF configuration?
So the heart of the machine is actually those two print towers you see here.
So 2 modules versus 3 on the CFG variant?
Yeah, that's correct. So we don't have the paper stabilizer here. So the total footprint is, because of that, almost 20% less than the CFG model.
Oh, that's interesting. And can we just list quickly the modules which are extras here in this version of our configuration in EMEA?
Yes, of course. So before printing here, we have a perforating and punching unit. Then the paper will be printed. Then we have an inspection unit that you see over there.
Yeah.
A folding unit. And then we have a cut and stagger, which you also can transform into a rewinder if you want to.
Okay, so let's talk about the stocks and the output of this system. So let me ask you the question. Can this system run only on the uncoated stock?
No, this machine can run on uncoated stock, on matte coated stock, and on inkjet treated papers like Mondi and CVG.
So otherwise than the slightly limited media range, the stock specification is the same as on the CFG version?
I would say that the CFG version is really a universal press. And here we are more looking to uncoated and matte coated paper. So if you really want to do everything, if you want to do gloss coated paper, you need the capabilities of a jet press 1160 CFG.
Well, those print towers look very similar to what I have seen on the CFG version.
Yes, correct, Greg. Actually, they are identical. The only difference here is that the ink inside the print heads is different. The ink that we have here is optimized for uncoated paper and matte coated paper.
And I know from you already that this means actually that we expect a lower ink usage, especially on the uncoated media, which means lower run cost and TCO, correct?
Yes, correct, Greg. And in addition of that, also the power requirements of these machines are lower, because we don't have a subdryer here and we don't have the paper stabilizer, which also means less cost in hot work.
Well, we could discuss like this for hours. Unfortunately, we need to move on with the program. I know Mark has some questions which he would like to ask and discuss further why we are not using paper stabilizer on the CF system here. Right, Mark?
Well, Greg, yes, you're absolutely right. That's something I do want to know, but I know we have an opportunity later to discuss that. So I'll save that one for you. You can think about the answer. Just to point out with this this graphic here of some of the things that Greg and Danny talked about. What you see here is a diagram on the top in purple. You see a regular high-speed inkjet press. It has no paper stabilizer. As soon as the paper goes into the press, it gets printed on, then it gets dried, and then lots of power, then more moisture added to the paper, more power is required to dry it, and you end up with paper that's quite stressed. Compared to that on the bottom in the green, or is it blue, depending on your point of view, then we have a paper stabilizer first. The paper stabilizer stabilizes the paper, as the name suggests. Then when we dry the front side and print on the front side, when we do the back side as well, you'll see there's a lot less heat required, a lot less driving out of moisture. So when we overlay the two on top of each other, which is in the center there, let me just find a pointer. There it is. So on this center section here, you can see compared to each other, the amount of power and drying and moisture in the paper are represented by this green bar, and it's a lot less. The stresses and shocks, the variance between the peaks and the troughs is a lot less. And so we get a better result. And that means that we get then, without a paper stabilizer, we get swelling and shrinking as moisture is added to the paper and then driven out very quickly by high heat. What we can do is spread out that heating over 3 towers instead of 2. So we pre-shrink the paper. When we print the front and the back side and then dry it again, there's very little swelling or shrinking going on. So that means we get better dots as well, because the paper's not stressed, because the paper's got the right amount of moisture content in it. Then without the paper stabilizer, it's more grainy. The dots might join together as the moisture in the paper pulls the ink down into the surface. In the paper stabilizer, we've got less graininess. We've got this better dot circularity. So let's take a closer look at the 1160 CFG. with Danny. Danny's going to actually run some jobs and see, so you can see the press running and give you some tips about what to consider when you're running a continuous feed inkjet press. So over to Danny. Let's see if we can link up.
I am here in front of the JetPress 1160 CFG. As we have here the paper stabilizer, we don't have to take care about the climatization of the paper, which means we can load a paper reel straight from the truck into the unwinder. On this machine here, we can go up to 546 millimeter wide. As you want to print as long as possible, because most rolls will print more than an hour, you have to prioritize your jobs, which means you have to put all the jobs together that you want to print on the same type of stock. So I think it's time to print something, so let's go over to the user interface. I'm here at the user interface of the printer, of the JetPress 1160 CFG. So here I have the DFV and I also have the printer control system. So what I've done, I've queued up a list of jobs that I want to print on the same stock. So here I have all my jobs queued up. So all those jobs, they have different copy amounts, and if I want to, I also can change the resolution. So if I want to have 1200 dpi resolution or 600 dpi resolution, I can define over here. What I also can do over here at the user interface is work with printer templates. Printer templates can have all the settings related to a specific type of paper. So if you set up a paper once, you can save everything. So you're sure the next time you will print this paper, your machine is ready to go. You don't have to wait, you don't have to do additional changes. As my job here is ready to print, I will press print and we will start printing. And let's have a look now at the rewinder. The first thing we will print are the Waco bars. We are currently printing at a speed of 80 meters a minute, but we can ramp down without losing any quality or with any other problems. So this gives us the flexibility to check the quality on the fly. So now I will take you to the user interface and we will go down to 20 meters a minute. The 20 meters a minute is now applied and you will see that we are printing way slower now as we did before. So now we are running really 20 meters a minute and it gives us the opportunity to have a nice look of the quality that we are currently printing. It looks all fine, it looks all good. So I will ramp up again to production mode, 80 meters a minute. As you see now, we are ramping up again. We are printing 80 meters a minute again. And the quality will stay the same. There is no waste and everything that's on the roll can be finished and can be sold. Here I have a magazine that we have already printed earlier. This is printed on the normal gloss-coated stock. So as you see, the paper is nice and flat. This has mainly to do with the paper stabilizer. This makes the machine capable to print high coverage areas next to white spaces. So actually you can take your jobs from your offset press and put them on the JetPress 1160 CFG without any problems. There is no primer, there's nothing to add. So it's time to print some more samples.
Okay, so I should be joined by my friend Greg over in Japan. Here he's coming through, and I think he's moved to an area where we've got some samples. Hello, Greg.
Hello, hi, Mark.
Hi. So a great walkthrough. Congratulations. I think it was very clear and a great demo from Danny. But as you said at the end of your first section, I want to know why we haven't got a paper stabilizer on the 1160 CF, and we have got one on the 1160 CFG. Can you enlighten us?
Correct. Well, Mark, jet press 1160 CFG is a universal press, as Danny and I already said during the demonstration. So it can operate on various types of media, from plain uncoated up to offset coated, including gloss. Right, as we said, without need for priming, we can achieve great results. So applications with high coverage, like those, like the one, right, you showed already, like the gallery book, right, or this type of high coverage applications, right, those all can be produced with this press. Obviously, we can go also into lower, less challenging jobs, into less challenging media, right? However, when talking to our existing potential clients, we understood that not all of them have such a wide spectrum of jobs and applications. Right? Some of them operate just in the space of uncoated media, perhaps producing steel, all good transactional jobs, or some direct mail on catalogs or uncoated, or books such as those which are going to see in a moment on uncoated media for education sector. Some of those applications are emerging, are growing, and this is a great segment to build your business on. Sometimes they go into coated media such as matte coated. And with this in mind, we actually developed a new version of the continuous feed inkjet system. As you already said, without paper stabilizer, because simply there's no need for this type of media to have paper stabilizer. And well, what you gain in this case is actually you gain a smaller footprint, you gain a lower energy consumption, and as you may guess, right, as we have less hardware within the configuration, you've got actually some positive impact on the investment. But I would say as a bonus also, as Danny mentioned about the ink, which was specifically developed and optimized for the uncoated or matte coated media, as this ink was developed just with this segment of media in mind, obviously it's more efficient, right, with this type of media. It stays more on top, right, so we can achieve a better color density with a little bit of less usage, right? So we get some benefit also in terms of run cost and TCO.
Yeah. Okay, so talking about commercial print, which I think is an area we're particularly interested in EMEA, we've decided then not to just bring a standard 2-tower continuous feed press, but we decided to bring in this model with the paper stabilizer. So for commercial print, how important is that paper stabilizer?
Well, so for commercial print, we developed a press, which, as Danny mentioned, also reactions during the most of the demonstration. To many of those I attended, there is simply no concerns about quality from our potential clients looking at the output, right? So that's a great sign, right? That when you talk to offset printers, you show them the output, right? They are happy with the quality, they're happy what they see, right? Which is not always the case, we need to say, with other presses on the market. Right? It's a tough job to please an experienced offset printer with the quality, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's what the stabilizer does for us, is mark us out as being different to other offerings that are available. We're not just taking a press that's been proven to do transactional or direct mail. We're taking a press that has additional capability. And has this, so I'm pretty clear now on why we've got the difference. So thank you for that. Why don't we hear from a user of 1160 CF? We're going to watch a video from a company in Korea called Twin Bell. I like this gentleman. He already has bought 2 1160 CFs, and he's thinking of buying a few more. But watch this, and you'll find out.
안녕하세요. 트윈벨 미디어 대표 유용호입니다. 트윈벨 미디어는 2016년에 설립된 디지털 롤 인쇄 전문 기업입니다. 저희는 학원, 출판사, 교육기관, 공공기관 등을 대상으로 교재, NCS 책자, 리플렛, 카탈로그 등의 인쇄 서비스를 제공하고 있습니다. 최근 인쇄 품질과 속도 때문에 사업이 급격하게 커지게 되었습니다. 후지필름 비즈니스 이노베이션에 제프레스 1160 CF 2대를 도입하면서 생산량과 속도를 올렸기 때문입니다. 아마 국내에서는 저희가 제프레스 1160 CF를 도입해서 원스톱 프로세스를 가장 빨리 구축했다고 생각합니다. 생산력에서 확실히 다른 업체에 비해 차이가 나니까 2024년 5월에 도입했는데 벌써 주문량이 2배 이상 증가했습니다. 학원에서 교재 주문을 하는 경우 주문받고 제작하고 택배 배송하면 거의 3일이면 됩니다. 빠르고 정확하게 제작하니까 소량 주문도 가능해 주문을 하는 고객의 바운더리가 넓어졌습니다. 이렇게 고객들 사이에서 입소문을 타고 바로 업계 상위권으로 치고 올라가고 있습니다. 특히 모조지 인쇄에서 뛰어난 품질을 자랑하며 예전보다 색상 표현이 더욱 정확하고 일관성 있게 인쇄가 되어집니다. 두꺼운 책 만들 때 가장 불량률이 높은 이유 중 하나가 웨이브 현상인데 제프레스는 이러한 문제가 생기지 않았습니다. 현재 국내에서 운용되는 동종 모델 중에서는 최상급의 스펙이라고 생각합니다. 후지필름 비즈니스 이노베이션에 고유 기술이 적용된 프린트로 고품질 인쇄가 가능해졌습니다. 저희 트윈벨 미디어는 앞으로 사업장을 늘려서 제프레스를 10대 이상 보유하여 1000부의 책 제작까지 직접 생산할 수 있는 센터를 준비하고 있습니다. 제프레스 1160 CF를 통해 고속, 고품질의 인쇄물을 제공하는 것이 저희의 목표입니다. 후지필름 비즈니스 이노베이션은 저희와 오랫동안 신뢰를 구축한 비즈니스 파트너 그 이상입니다. 후지필름의 가장 큰 장점인 좋은 퀄리티의 제품과 서비스로 업계 성장을 이끌어 나가겠습니다.
Well, I love the animation at the end of that with the little winking U. I think we should talk to our marketing department and make sure we put it on the end of all our videos. If you agree, give us a thumbs up. I think it's brilliant. But I'm also very impressed by the guys' enthusiasm, especially to buy. Yeah, you love it. That's good. It's enthusiasm to buy up to 10 1160s. I mean, I think a salesperson in Korea might be thinking about just retiring on that. But he's probably thinking, actually, I could probably sell somebody else 10 more. So one thing I promised during quite a few different LinkedIn posts was robots, and previewed with a few pictures. So pleased to say we can now look at our Future Edge facility smart factory, where Greg and Nomura-san went through some of the things that we could see in the Future Edge facility. And it makes me even more to want to go out there and see what's going on. So let's play that video now. We pre-recorded it. It was quite complicated, as robots are. So have a watch.
So hello, Masumoto-san.
Very nice to meet you, Greg-san.
Hello.
Welcome to Japan.
Thank you for having us, and glad to be here. And I'm very excited to see the new solutions which we are presenting in this center.
Yeah, welcome to our base, Fujifilm EMEA Future Edge. And we are going to show you our latest development technologies. And I'm sure that it's going to be a very good reactions coming from European people too.
Okay, looking forward to.
Yeah.
Let's get inside and look at the design. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, son. Hello again, and great to see this new solution, production cockpit, where we are starting our journey.
Thank you, Greg-san. This is a monitoring software. It's called Revolia One Production Cockpit. And this is a kind of symbolic software which can monitor all the status of our equipments, including third parties' equipments too.
Okay, so I just wanted to highlight that, if I understand you correctly, it covers not just Fujifilm equipment, but also some third-party solutions which are also within the production floor.
Yeah, and on the third parties' equipment, we have created some add-on software inside, and which enables to communicate with Revolia One production cockpit.
It's a great starting point to look at our specific solutions within the smart factory and the robotic solutions which we are going to see in a moment.
Yes, yes. And you can see already this bookbinding, AGV, paper handling, and sealing and palletizing and sorting. All those equipments combined with robotic technologies.
Okay.
And it can provide you almost a status of future. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get inside and look at the details of those solutions.
Yes, please.
All right.
Looking forward to.
Yeah. Okay, so we are in the smart factory, correct?
Yes, this is our new product. It's called Kamisa, and embedded into this paper handling units. And those two units, robotic arms, you can see, which we have shown at the Drupa.
How about the repeatability of this task? Because I understand one of the reasons of developing this solution is actually to ensure this repeatability.
Yes, and it's linked to our reason why we have developed this paper handling cell is that basically in Japan, I guess it's global, but shortage of the manpower is the main issue for Japanese market. And the people who engaged in paper handling, it's getting older and older. And the people, young age, cannot engage into this kind of simple task. And instead of having a manpower, we have developed robotic solutions to eliminate the manpower for this simple job.
Right. And another question I wanted to ask is, well, we are in front of the guillotine with this solution, so potentially representing some hazard for humans. I understand this solution can also address some health and safety issues or hazards.
Yes. Respect to our CSR, company social responsibility. In this printing market where they use guillotines or harming the healthy conditions, therefore we have developed this kind of automatic solutions without human interventions inside the process.
Right. So I understand this solution can help protecting human health, right?
Yes.
And making the work space safer.
Yes, yes, please, yes.
Okay.
Well, this will provide, you can see full automatic system eliminating manpower to realize that at the future factory who can control by one single man total system. That's our concept.
Okay. That's very exciting. Let's move to the next solution where we are going to see the book block moved by the robotic solution.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are at the next solution, this time for the book blocks.
This is the sections where you can bring all the book blockings into one section, which can then allow robots to make book making and also three-way cutting. And once it's made a book, then this robot scanned the destinations by barcode reader, then place onto the box.
And some people may say those robots are not moving very fast, right?
Yes, exactly. This is the nature of robots. And actually, man is really compelling for the manpower versus robotic arm speed. But the major difference between manpower and robotic arms is that how sustainable the robot can work for 24 hours and 7 days a week versus manpower who has to have maybe 8 hours of limiting working hours. And also during 8 hours, the man is going to take a break. Or sort of, the deficiency of the system is really random. This AMR, autonomous mobile robots, is going to take printed paper on the trolley, and you can see that movement, and this will automatically click the trolley and bring it into the production line.
Can this robot actually hit a person when it's moving around?
It's normally impossible because there are two sensors in front and two sensors at the side, and to see obstacles in front or inside. and then it will stop before. Now, when its obstruction is really detected. Yeah.
So let's now just move to the production cockpit and have a closing comment on our journey.
Okay.
And we are coming back here not without a reason, because I understand we can see live the status of all those solutions again on the production cockpit, correct?
Yes, it's correct. Every time, everywhere, you have seen a robot's movements, and these movements are actually reflected to this monitor. Input and output has been already connected, and the status over there has been actually accumulated by the time you have seen the robots.
Okay.
And you can see, for example, this smart binding system, it is the status of this system is 58%. More than 42%, more than 40% is left capacity, and it can provide more daily work accepted for these sections. And you can see, for example, jet press 750. Now, actually, 136% is over capacity. You can allocate machines towards to this 136 machine is overloaded. So you'd have to really justify by seeing this monitor your actual day work.
Okay. Well, thank you for this short snapshot of all the solutions. We could talk like this for hours, but we need to move on with the program. So thank you again for your hospitality.
I hope I can explain good.
Absolutely. And I hope we can continue our cooperation in the future.
Much.
Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Greg doing some great Japanese bowing there. He really is taking on board the whole Japanese culture since he's been there. It's great. I'd like to invite other participants back to put their cameras on. If you can join us. Here we go. There's the guys in EMEA. That's great. Hopefully David's around as well. David has a fan in the chat. David, you've a lady, I'm guessing a lady called Carmen, says, "Go Dave, you're very well respected down under." So I don't know, did you send the link around to all your friends?
If it's Carmen, I think I know the Carmen. Yes.
Yeah, you know the Carmen. Okay. So we've got quite a few questions here. And the first one is from Lindsay. And I guess I'll give this one to you, Greg. When will the CF model be available in EMEA? So that's the machine we don't have yet that we've previewed today. But when can we expect to see it?
Well, but after discussing with our European management, I'm allowed to say that the order can be placed now, but the order installation is expected by the end of Q3.
Okay, Q3. Okay.
So by September.
So there's nothing to stop us going full launch on this.
Nothing to stop us.
Excellent, excellent. And there's another one for you. And I guess we'll just have to say it depends for this, but you might come up with something different. JP, that's all I've got, initials JP. What's the price difference between the two models?
Right. So, well, as I mentioned already, I think in the previous our discussion, Mark, just a few minutes ago, right? I think looking at the hardware, you may already have an idea about the relative positioning of the two units. However, I'm going just to say that. Well, we have a very, let's say, competitive and transparent go-to-market pricing model here in Europe, which we revised recently, which I'm sure will also enable full analog to digital transition for our offset printers, offset users. So I would just like to encourage all of you to contact our sales representatives, whether Fujifilm employees, our distributors. We're happy to review your business case. We're happy to test your files, to provide you more detailed TCO and run cost analysis, and of course provide you a formal commercial proposal. So yes, it's an indirect, but it's inviting to to come to us and have a conversation.
So we can confirm there is a price differential, but it depends on the individual situation and the solution that we provide. It's not possible to give a blanket answer across so many regions. So get in touch. You know, if you've got to that stage where you're thinking about the price difference, then get in touch and we'll talk about it. I've got a question here I'll answer, which is from Adele in Egypt again. one of my favorite Q&A posters. He says, what about printing on plastic films like PP, PET, and PE? Well, you've fallen into my trap, because while we can't print it on the 1160 CFG, we can print that kind of thing of synthetics on our other jet press, which is the FP790. So Adele, when I will get these questions and pass that one on to somebody who can answer that question for you. We don't have that technology there to show today, but that is a flexible packaging press that prints on flexible substrates, and we have quite a few installs over in Europe now, and it's coming to the rest of the world very quickly. So we'll be able to answer that for you. I'll pass that question on. I know your email address when you're registered, so we've got that. And David, a question from Sabrina. Sabrina says, what advice would you give to somebody looking at their first continuous feed press if their only experience has been sheet fed up until now?
I suppose the first piece of advice I would give would be take some good consultation from your suppliers. Like speak to the crews in the whichever country you're from, because they would guide you as to whether or not the applications that you're doing, the volume that you expect to do would suit. And they'll also guide about the finishing and the software that's going to drive it. So following on from what I mentioned before, both those two components, the finishing and the software that will drive the engine, will make or break the economics of a CF device sometimes, depending on what you're doing. So get some advice from the Fujifilm crew, because they'll steer you in a direction which is going to be right for you. That's genuinely.
Okay, great. I just realized the time. We're 2 minutes over time. And I just want to do this last one, which is from Neil. And Neil says, cockpit is a real exciting development, with 2 exclamation marks afterwards. So he's enthusiastic. But I have to point out the status, and maybe Koga-san or Nomoto-san, you can confirm. At the moment, this product is not available in EMEA, but we're all keeping our fingers crossed. But current status is to be decided. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, starting from Japan, we expand the market target to Asia right now. So next step, I believe, in worldwide.
Right. Okay. We're looking forward to that. It's very exciting. Okay. We're going to end the questions there. We have some more. We will respond to them offline. We know who asked what, so we'll do that. I can see my boss is on here, Manuel Schrutt. He said we want to have it in Europe as soon as possible, EMEA as soon as possible.
It's top management.
We're not demanding, but we're requesting politely that would be nice. Okay, so we really have to say thank you everyone for sticking with us for the whole hour. We were hovering around the 40 to 50 mark of attendees during the whole show, so thank you very much. Thanks for attending. The full recording of this is available if you want to share it with your friends. You'll get a link via email soon after we say goodbye. You'll see I've put some of the boxes on the screen there. One is a web link, which is to our product page. If you would like to see any samples that we printed today and more, because we have a good stock of samples, then fill in the response form on that page with what you need to see. You might want to see something from our FP790 flexible packaging press. You might want to see something from our sheet fed, or even toner. Whatever you need to see, we can send it to you. And then there's another link there, which is a brochure, which is the full brochure for the 1160 CFG, which is the model that is currently available in EMEA, soon to be followed very quickly by a brochure for the 1160 CF. So I'd like to say thank you to David from Australia. It's getting later in the evening there for you. The guys in Future Edge, thank you all. You've done a great job. I've had such fun. It's been nerve-wracking, but we got there in the end. Thank you so much. And to all of you, to everybody who watched and attended. We're gonna go mute now and turn off our cameras, but we'll leave this on the screen for another minute just to give you a chance to click those links if you need to. So thanks everyone. I'll say goodbye.
Thank you, Mark.
We'll see you again soon in the next install.